after SummerSlam, you get your next documented match I have is September 9th, 11 days. Do you remember what you did? Did you get a little time off?
We didn't have 11 days off.
Oh, I have here your next match was September.
Wish I'd had 11 days off.
It's fun.
I must have got a divorce during those 11 days. I sure as hell don't remember it.
All right, the aftermath. Do you remember what your payday was for that night?
It was a good payday.
Statute of limitations up. The IRS can't audit you after 3 years. You remember what your
Well,
payday
I've been
was?
audited a bunch of fucking times, so it don't matter. It was a good payday.
Did you make more than Warrior?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We never talked about it at all. We never talked about that. It was more than I expected because of WrestleMania 3 was so much less than I expected. It was fair, I suppose. I knew I was on the way out. Who knows? You know what? I looked at it as a gift toward the end of it now because I hung on long enough to get that.
Well, I was going to say.
I hung on long enough to get that one good check.
Was it a fair enough after 454 days of sellouts, or thereabouts?
Well, when you look back, you always say, well, you know,
That
so
you
and so,
gave the
so and
company.
so got 60,000. Warriors stood them up because Hogan got 650,000 for SummerSlam or something a year before that or a year after that. When guys, you know, it's like, are you kidding me? Hogan's makes 600,000, and this is what I made. So it all comes with the territory. It all comes with. It is what it is. Some guys at WrestleMania 3 were, you know, they made 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, $200,000 probably. No one really ever talked about their money. Really.
What are you told is coming next by Vince?
After
Anything?
that,
Yeah.
there was nothing. I wasn't told anything until I did these return matches with Warrior.
Right.
And then I was in the cafeteria one day and I see Jimmy Snuka come in the lunchroom at one of the buildings, and I went over to Vince and I said, you know, I wouldn't mind having a little run with Jimmy, and I'll get him over. And he said, really? I said, yeah. And then we started.
Rhythm and Blues happens not too long after this, right?
Well, see, I knew I was finished. They're going to job me out with anybody, mid-card, lower card. The money was gone. Right. I mean, I know what mid-card, Madison Square Garden sold out. You're in a mid-card match, you can make $600 fucking dollars. Not 6,000 like you'd make with someone, or 8,000. You're going to make 600, 700. And now you're in the sea towns. You're in Scranton, Pennsylvania. You're in Lowell, Massachusetts. You're in Des Moines, Iowa. I mean, you're making $1,500. You're making $750 in Scranton. The money it dries up fast. And so I knew that if I could get in and do the thing with Jimmy Snuka, they maybe had some plans. My money would go up. So I maintained a little bit of a steady income with Jimmy because we weren't feature matches by any means, but then we worked up a month or so later to feature matches in those small towns. And those small towns would pay $2,000, $2,500 on top, which wasn't bad. It wasn't $5,000, but it was steady money. And I knew they were getting Jimmy ready for Mr. Perfect.
Right. An interesting epilogue.
And
to
after
this.
Jimmy Snuka, I didn't know where I was going. I got over to TV, and then but then it was Rhythm and Blues.
Right.
Yeah.
But an interesting epilogue to this story is that you and Warrior meet one more time, July of 1995 in Las Vegas. Remember this? It was a show called National Wrestling Conference.
Independent promoter.
Yeah. The Ultimate Return at the Silver Nugget Hotel and Casino. Did the match go a little longer?
Yeah, by then he had worked with Hogan and yes, he had worked with Hogan. He had worked with a lot of different guys, Dino Bravo and several other. Rick Rude had the best matches I've ever seen with a guy. Rick Rude had fabulous matches with that guy. Hogan had a good match with him. Mind you, they had to go over it a lot and practice it, but Hogan wanted it to be right and be good, and that's what they did. They were able to do that. I never had the opportunity to go and take a month and just go down to Tampa and work out and practice with someone. But the Warrior match in Las Vegas, it didn't go as long as you would expect because he was pissed off at the promoter about something. He didn't want to be there. He just barely talked to me. We went out, did something silly nonsense, and got out of it and was done. And so it was not even memorable at all. I remember being in Las Vegas at that particular Silver Nugget, and that's about it.
You look back at that Summerslam as a highlight. I know it is the end of something that didn't end well because of the whole Savage thing.
Well, I mean, we all have to give up something. We all have to lose somewhere down the line. It's not about never ever losing. It's not like you can't beat me in Canada. Maybe I should have told Vince that.
Can't beat me in New York.
You can't beat me. I'm not losing in New York. Actually, that Saturday night main event was in Hershey. I'm not losing in Hershey, fucking Pennsylvania. So I mean, none of that had anything to do. It was all business. But
right.
Looking back, I've always said this. I accomplished what needed to be accomplished. I got him over right away he was an automatic star. Right away. Mm-hmm. It was good for the company because they needed somebody, and they needed somebody quick and fast to be over right away. And he was over right away. So it helped the company. It didn't hurt me to lose to the Warrior then, at that point in time, because it was done the right way. It was done the way I wanted to do it. And I was happy doing it that way. Could somebody have given me a different or a better way to do it? No one came up to me and told me, because they had given me the freedom to do it. Right. And so when you have the freedom to do it your way, you chose it. It's like taking a bad booking. You booked it. You know, hey, but in hindsight, no. It was a good run. I enjoyed the run up until all the Saturday night main event stuff came along, and then I didn't enjoy the run anymore. I enjoyed being with Jimmy Snuka. I enjoyed doing the return. I actually enjoyed doing the return matches with the Warrior. I enjoyed it because it gave me a chance then to be creative again, and not be in this laborious, continue to do the same match every night that Randy and I did for 6 months,
right.
Or do the same match that I was doing with someone else for 3 months straight in a row. With the Warrior, then after he won the belt and I had return matches, then I started building things to match with him. I started being creative with him and doing things that helped, ultimately it helped me with the crowd, because it didn't make me just a job guy that had been beaten in 20 seconds.
Right.
I was able to put together things during the match and give them the finish that they sent down from the office that obviously popped the crowd and meant something.